Okay, dear students, welcome you all for today's science class. In our last class, we were discussing about one of the hydraulic machines. That was your hydraulic garage lift. We had come to know regarding the simple construction and the working action of the garage lift. Now today I have come with another machine, that is your hydraulic brake. This is also sort of you can say hydraulic machine. Okay. So what is hydraulic brake? A hydraulic brake is a braking system that is used in four wheelers and other heavy automobiles. So for cars, jeeps, vans, trucks, etc., actually this braking system is used. Okay. Now already I have drawn the simple structure of hydraulic brake. Just you try to understand its simple construction and how does it work, what is its action, how does it act, that also will come to know. So in the hydraulic braking system, actually a long tube is like this, okay, which is filled with brake oil, you just see, and it's connected to a cylinder that's called master cylinder, which is connected with a piston known as master piston, and which further connected to the brake pedal. Okay. And the other end of the tube is actually only one wheel is shown. Okay. Other side also it goes, the tube goes, okay, for the other wheel. So we are just discussing with one wheel only. So other end of the tube is connected here to a little larger cylinder. It's larger than this master cylinder, and it's known as slave cylinder, and it's also called wheel cylinder. Okay. So up to here what we have understood, there is a tube connected to the master cylinder attached with a master piston, which is connected to the brake pedal. Other end of the tube is connected to another larger cylinder, that is known as slab cylinder or wheel cylinder, and it is filled with brake oil. The whole system is filled with, look here, tube, master piston, master cylinder, slab cylinder, it's filled with brake oil. Now this if you see here, this slab cylinder or wheel cylinder, it is also attached with two brake pistons. One is this, another one is this, and these brake pistons are attached to the both sides brake shoes, which is attached to the inner rim of the wheel. This is the wheel and this is the inner wheel, inner rim. Okay, I have written here inner rim of the wheel. So this is the simple construction. Once again, from here we can start for the convenience, it's easy to understand. A tube, okay, connected with master cylinder, which is attached with master piston, which is connected to the brake pedal. Other end of the tube is connected to the slab cylinder. Slab cylinders are attached with brake pistons, okay, this and this brake pistons, and brake pistons are attached with the brake shoes, which can get attached. It actually there is one spring also. There is one spring also. Here there is one spring. Okay, return spring, we can say this return spring. So when we release the brake, then again the brake shoes it gets returned. Okay, so return spring is also there. So these brake pistons are attached with the brake shoes. Brake shoes can get attached with the inner rim when we press the brake pedal. Okay. So, this is the very simple structure of hydraulic brake. So, you should keep in your mind all these names of the different parts: a long tube, horizontal tube, master cylinder, master piston, brake paddle, slab cylinder or wheel cylinder, brake pistons, brake shoes, rim of the wheel or return spring also you can say, okay, here. So, how it works? This is the simple construction we have come to know. You can see the see in your book the diagram, more or less it's similar, okay. So, when we press, when we have to apply the brake, so when we brake paddle, okay, here we press, then what happens? Master piston, it presses the brake oil, that means it creates one pressure here, okay. That pressure is being transmitted, okay, according to the Pascal's law, and it comes here and it acts here, both sides. Now, if you see the slab cylinder, it has got, I am sorry, I am really very sorry. Anyway, so I was here. So, as because the slab cylinder has larger area than this master cylinder. So, that means what? Area is larger, then what will happen? Force will be also larger. So, what the force we have applied here in our master piston, it will be magnified here in the brake piston. So, brake piston pushes the brake shoes and it gets jammed with the inner rim of the wheel, and it retards the speed of the vehicle, or it may stop, okay. So, in this way hydraulic brake system is working. So, I am sure you have understood. So, in this way different hydraulic machines work, okay. Now, so I am going to rub it. You have got the diagram in your figure, you have understood, I think. The diagram in your book. Now, very interesting topics come. Upthrust. It's very interesting topic, upthrust, okay. So, as by the name it's clear, up means mathitira, thrust is a force acting perpendicular. So, mathitira lagne yo balo is the thrust, is the force acting normally in upward direction, that is the upthrust. Our simple examples you can see. यदि यहाँको चाहिँ गाउँ घरमा यदि इनार छ भने, if any well is there, okay, त्यो इनारमा हामी चाहिँ इनारबाट जब पानी निकाल्छौँ बकेटमा, अब जबसम्म चाहिँ त्यो बाल्टी पानीको भित्र हुन्छ हामीलाई चाहिँ हलुङ्गो लागिरहेको हुन्छ, ओके. तर जब त्यो बाल्टी चाहिँ हामीले तान्दै जब पानीदेखि त्यो सर्फेसदेखि जब माथि आउँछ, हावामा आउँछ, देन वी फिल इट हेभी, हामीलाई भारी लाग्न सुरु हुन्छ, गह्रौँ हामीलाई फिल हुन्छ. इट्स क्लियर. सो हुन त अब आजभोलि सायद हामीले त्यो एक्सपिरियन्स गरेका छैनौँ, तर पनि यदि हामी गाउँघर जान्छौँ जहाँ इनार छ त्यहाँ हामीले ट्राई गऱ्यो भने वी क्यान एक्सपिरियन्स दिस, ओके. अर्को चाहिँ एक्सपिरियन्स हामीले कहाँ गर्न सक्छौँ त भन्दाखेरि, यदि यहाँहरूले स्विमिङ गर्नुहुन्छ भने स्विमिङ पुलमा साथीभाइहरू जब हामी स्विमिङ गर्न जान्छौँ कहिलेकाहीँ भने, तपाईले कुनै पनि साथीलाई पानी भित्रै उचाल्ने प्रयास गर्नुहुन्छ भने very easily you can lift your friend as long as the friend is inside the water. ओके, त्यहाँ तपाईलाई केही बल लागे जस्तो लाग्दैन, तर एकचोटि पानीदेखि माथि लिएर आएपछि त्यसपछि पसिना छुट्छ अनि गाह्रो हुन्छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ थाम्नु चाहिँ गाह्रो हुन्छ. सो जब त्यो पानी भित्र थियो हामीले very easily we can lift. यो पनि हामीले एक्सपिरियन्स गर्न सक्छौं. Okay, I will show you a very simple experiment here. I think you can see this is a glass. Okay, it's half filled with water, and it's a rubber ball. Okay, now I will make it dip inside the water by applying force. I have dipped it. Okay, now it's immersed inside the water, but as soon as I release my finger, it will come up. Thus, once again I will show you. I have dipped it. Now I am feeling that one force is acting from downward in the upward direction, and as soon as I remove my finger, it will come up. So this also clearly make us to think. It means it was initially inside, but as soon as I release my finger out from here, it comes up. It means a force is being acted from downward towards the upward direction. तलबाट कुनै बल लागिरहेछ यसमा, त्यसकारण यो माथि आइहाल्यो. होइन भने एकचोटि यसलाई डुबाइसकेपछि तल यो तलै बस्नु पर्ने, तर औँला हटाउनु बित्तिकै यो माथि आइहाल्छ. यसको मतलब तलबाट कुनै बल चाहिँ यसमा लाग्यो. So that is upthrust. Okay, so the concept is clear कि अब यो अपथ्रस्ट चाहिँ अब खालि यो वाटरमा भन्ने कुरा होइन, कुनै पनि लिक्विडमा हुन्छ. नट ओन्ली इन लिक्विड्स, ग्यासेसमा पनि हुन्छ. द्याट मिन्स कुनै पनि फ्लुइडमा कुनै चाहिँ एउटा बडीलाई डिप गर्दाखेरि माथितिर त्यो बडीले चाहिँ एउटा फोर्स फिल गर्छ, थ्रस्ट फिल गर्छ. द्याट इज कल्ड अपथ्रस्ट. ओके, सो इन दिस वे व्हाट्स द डेफिनेसन अफ अपथ्रस्ट? when a body is partially or wholly, completely immersed in a liquid or in a fluid, the term fluid already I have introduced. Fluid means either it may be liquid or gas. Okay, the resultant force acted on it by the fluid in upward direction is called upthrust. So what is the definition of upthrust? That whenever a body is immersed partially or completely, wholly inside a fluid, in a fluid, then the fluid exerts a force in the upward direction. That is called upthrust of the fluid. Upthrust acted by fluid on the body. Here it's written the resultant force. Actually, that is the resultant force, because try to understand here. suppose this is a body inside here. So, from everywhere force is acting or pressure is acting on this body, but in result it comes towards the upward direction only. As a result, whatever the lateral pressures, they all become equal and opposite, okay, and upward pressure will be more than downward pressure. I will show you by simple calculation how it comes. So, as a whole, if you do not write the resultant force, then also no problem. In simple definition you can write that whenever a body is immersed inside a liquid or inside a fluid, partially or wholly, and the force experienced by the body, okay, in the upward direction is called upthrust, or the force exerted by the liquid to the body in the upward direction is called upthrust, same thing. Clear? Now, I am going to show you how the upthrust is created. Okay? Look here. Suppose this is a fluid, the very common fluid, you can say water, okay, and a body is here completely, suppose inside the water, immersed in the water like this. Now, at this point, try to understand what I am telling you. At this point, also liquid is exerting force or exerting pressure in the downward direction. Just the opposite of this point, here is another point, suppose at the other face, okay, at the opposite face of this body. Here also liquid is creating pressure in the upward direction. Okay. Now, laterally I will take 2 points. Suppose this, here is the liquid pressure is in this direction. Just at the same depth here on the opposite face, I will take another point, suppose this. Here liquid is acting force in this direction. So, I have shown here only one point, that means the same thing is happening with the whole face, okay, upper face, lower face and sidewise faces. Clear? So, try to understand here. Suppose this is point A, this is point B, this is point C, this is point D. Now, look here, the point C, the depth from the free surface of the water, if suppose it is H, and I had told you the point D is just at the same height, okay, on the opposite face, that means this is also H. Clear? Now, this point A, this is at a height, suppose H1 from the free surface, this from here to here height. This point is here. So, its height is from free surface, suppose H2. Now, try to understand what happens actually. At point C, in this direction, the pressure acting at C, at point C, what will be the pressure acting? We know the liquid pressure formula, pressure equals to H, height of the liquid column, into D, density of the liquid, and G, acceleration due to gravity. So, H is, I have taken here H. For C, the depth is H. Suppose the density of water is D, G is G. So, at C, pressure is HdG acting in this direction. Okay? Clear? Now, at point D, pressure is how much? The D point is also at the same height H. Density of water is D, already I have told you, D into G. So, what we see here? At C, pressure is SdG acting in this direction. At D, there is another point just on the other face at the same height acting in opposite direction, this direction, they are equal in opposite. So, they cancels each other's effect. So, like this in for every point on the lateral surfaces, you will get another point just opposite to it, which is creating the same pressure in opposite direction. So, that is why the pressure acting this direction and this direction, they become equal and opposite. Clear? But now look at this point, the downward pressure at A we are going to calculate now. At A, how much is the pressure? H, depth of A, H1 into D into G, H1 dG, and at point B, now B is the just at the opposite surface, it is in the upper surface, it is in the lower surface, just opposite point B. Okay. At B, pressure is your, this is the depth now, H2, I have written here H2, H2 into D into G. Now, these two cancels out, right hand side pressure, left hand side pressure, okay, lateral pressure, left and right equal and opposite. So, they balance each other, but downward pressure at the upper surface and upward pressure at the lower surface are different. Why different? Due to the height. Here if you see very clearly, H2 is greater than H1. Pressure at A is H1 dG, pressure at B is H2 dG. H2 is greater than H1. That means this whole H2 dG will be greater than H1 dG. So, therefore, H2 dG will be greater than H1 dG. What does it mean? H2 dG is what? Upward pressure. The pressure which is acting at the bottom in the upward direction, that is more than the pressure acting on the upper surface, acting downward, that is less. So, that is why a resultant upward pressure is created. Okay? Resultant upward pressure is created. Resultant upward pressure, that will be equals to your H2 dG minus H1 dG. What is the resultant upward pressure? H2 dG minus H1 dG. H2 dG is the total upward pressure acting at the bottom, and H1 dG is the total downward pressure acting at the top. Okay? This is greater. So, this is the difference. So, this resultant upward pressure causes a force acting in the upward direction, and that results upthrust. So, what happens then? What is the effect due to the upthrust? What happens? So, that is why if you measure, you take the weight of any object in air. Okay? So, very easily you can, with the help of spring balance, we can take the weight of a stone or any object in air. So, if you see weight of an object in air, suppose it has come 15, or suppose simple number I am taking 5 kg weight or 5 kg force, whatever you can say. So, when we are talking about weight, we cannot say 5 kg, you have to say 5 kg force or 5 kg weight, or you have to say 5 Newton. Okay? So, weight of an object in air, suppose 5 Newton or 5 kg force or 5 kg weight. Now, with the thread, if you are hanging that object and that object you just dip inside the water, that object is completely immersed in the water, what you will find? You will find, suppose weight of the object in water, if you will see, it will come less than 5. Suppose it comes 3 kg weight. So, it means what? There is decrease in the weight whenever we are immersing any object, okay, inside a liquid completely or partially, then we get the some decrease in the weight. So, if you are asked what is the cause of this decrease, very easily you can understand. Weight is due to what? Weight, when we are taking weight is due to the gravity of the earth. Okay? The object is being pulled towards the earth center by the gravity, that is the weight. So, weight is always acting downward. To check that weight, if some up thrust comes, another force comes, so definitely that will be decreased. So, same thing is happening here. When we weigh, we have taken the weight in air, we have got 5 Newton, okay? But as soon as we immerse the body inside the water and if you see the reading, it comes 3 Newton. It means in the upward direction 2 Newton force is acting, 2 kg weight force is acting. That is the cause for the loss of the weight. Okay? So, what we have understood here now, we cannot say actual, this is not the real loss in weight, this is the apparent loss, false. So, apparent loss in weight. What is the cause of this apparent loss in weight? Nothing but upthrust. So, that is why mathematically apparent loss in weight will be equals to upthrust. Clear? Any doubt? I do not think any doubt is there. Okay. Now, another term comes density. What is density? Now, you take a stone, suppose the size of the stone is this much, the size of the stone is this much, suppose, and for the of the same volume you take suppose cotton, this is stone, this is cotton. In one hand you have taken stone, on the other hand you have taken of the same volume it same cotton. Now, you just imagine which one you will feel heavier. Definitely the answer you all will say, sir, the one the weight of the stone. Why so? It looks of the same size, of the same volume, okay? But even though the stone seems to be heavier, quite heavier than the cotton. So, the factor is density actually, factor is density. So, the one which has got more density out of two, if you are having the same volume, if you are taking, So, the one which you feel heavier, so that means that substance has got more density. Okay? Clear? So, very easily you can say which one has got more density, stone or cotton. No doubt the answer will come same from all of you, stone, sir. Okay? Actually, what is density? Density of a substance is defined as the mass per unit volume. So, density is your mass upon volume. So, density of a substance is defined as the mass per unit volume. Clear? So, from here you can understand. So, what is mass? What is mass? Volume into density. So, both of these stones and cotton, they had got the same volume. I had told you same volume, but stone seems to be heavier. So, it means stone has got more mass. Volume is same, one has got more mass. What does it mean? Density is more, that is why mass has become more. So, density is the cause which makes us able to say which substance is heavier, which one is lighter. Okay? Clear? So, density is defined as the mass per unit volume, and its SI unit we know, we all, the SI unit of mass is kg and that of volume is meter cube. So, kg per meter cube. This is the, or in serious unit you can say gram per centimeter cube. Anyway, for today this much only. Stay home, be safe. Thank you very much.